Hello again. Thank you very much for joining me here on Movie Ninja. And tonight I'm going to be talking about the 2020 horror film Slaxx. Y'all, it's about murderous pants. Okay, before I get too far into it, let's find out from the distributor exactly how they summarize this. A pair of jeans comes to life to punish the unscrupulous practices of a trendy clothing company. Shipped to the company's flagship store, the killer jeans proceed to wreak carnage on staff who are locked in overnight to set up the new collection. So, I was expecting straight comedy from this entire premise. This film surprised me, being much better than I think it actually has any right to be. I came into this thinking that this is going to be something like Basket Case, Attack of the Killer Tomato, The Killer Bed. You know, something to where, oh, this is so innocuous and harmless. I mean, it's just jeans. It's just a pair of pants. What could possibly go wrong? I wonder. Talk about killer fashion. Anywho, okay. So, that's the quick summary. So, what the film does especially right here is kind of setting up the atmosphere of working at a very toxic retail outlet. Now, a lot of us, as we were growing up, we found ourselves behind the register. And you have these places, these situations where your coworkers don't want to be there. And maybe like, okay, this is not a career aspiration. This is a stopgap for you. You know, I mean, either you're going to school or this is one of your first jobs and, you know, you're just getting that experience under your belt. But as soon as you walk in there, like past the interview, like immediately you can tell everyone hates each other. And the story centers primarily on a young girl named Libby. And she is very, she's very excited, she's very bubbly and happy, to be working at Canadian Cotton Clothiers. Now, this is a store that seems to be a little bit more upscale. Apparently, the Great White North's equivalent of a Lehman Marcus or Dillard's or Abercrombie and Fitch, something like that, to where it has high profile, has a high status, but its claim to fame is a little bit more because it's economically conscious. They claim that that they treat their workers very fairly with fair wages, that they have fair trade with their overseas partners, and pretty much like if you buy from us, you're a good person. Like essentially, they do a lot of that in their advertising, almost to the point where and I didn't quite know exactly where the film was going, but there's a kind of cult mentality like to it that is in and of itself very unnerving. But Libby, this is her first day on the job, and unfortunately she has some of the worst coworkers. She comes into this and immediately, like if you have a scale for like Libby's like, okay, I get to work at this store. I've wanted to work here for a very long time. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then as the film just keeps going and going and going, oh, you see this poor girl's spirit just die, because these people are horrible. They're horrible, and it's one of those working environments. Like I said, you step into it, most of the people don't like each other. They've set up their own little cliques and tribes, and everybody is just talking out of both sides of their mouth. Like, some people that are working here have been working here for years, think that they're obviously too good for this, and if you have any enthusiasm for anything that you're doing, then they're too good for you as well. There is a character in here, one of the primary characters, Shruti, Southeast Asian woman, that she claims that she has been working at that store for over 30 years. Okay, everybody. Real talk. I understand about difficulties with economic mobility. Sometimes you have to be at a job that you don't like for various reasons. I mean, just sometimes you have to make ends meet, you have to pay the bills. But she is, like, I've been working at this place since 1986, and it's clear that, like, she thinks she's too good for this. And hey, full credit to her, benefit of the doubt, yeah, okay, if you have a skill set that can take you somewhere else. 30 years? 30 years? Like, I don't know what the retirement qualifications are in Canada, if they're that different from here in the US, but she has been working here to a point where you can't blame anyone but yourself. I'm sorry, Shruti, but you and your bad attitude and you're just trying to just make life hard for any newcomer into this environment, no. Especially, oh, I'm way too good for this place. Well, apparently not for like 30 years. Oh my goodness, woman, just send out applications. Seriously. Anyways, so Libby finds out it's a very bad working environment, and unfortunately, their new product premieres, the following day. It's called Monday Madness, and unfortunately, these pants have an agenda of their own, and there's a very specific reason for that. Reason that I actually kind of like slightly worded that summary just a little bit differently because it gives away a big plot detail. But I will say this: I do appreciate I appreciate the setting because you have this very limited sort of like venue. So we have to have our film essentially set up in a warehouse, and you can, if you've ever worked in a warehouse, you know how the layout like is. But essentially your entire story just takes place in a sort of like leased area, a leased space. And you have like the warehouse portion of it as well. It's very claustrophobic. It's very cramped in. They don't go anywhere, so they work well within their budget. So setting is done very well. The actors and the characterization done extremely well. As I mentioned, something that is just very anxious, like anxiety inducing, is just like, oh no, I've been here, I've worked with these people, and oh man, there's a reason that I don't work there anymore. It's like that job, and it doesn't have to be selling clothes, it doesn't have to be necessarily at a grocery store or at a warehouse, just anything. If you will immediately identify, I've worked at that place. Oh wow, and that's horror enough, like in and of itself. But then you have this extra element like placed on this, and it goes into a different type of story, one about economic and corporate responsibility. And once again, I'm not going to give too much away, but I appreciate the message that they are putting across throughout the film. So, can Libby survive her first day on the job? Can she survive the the release of Super Shapers? That's the name of their new product that they say is going to set the world on fire with Super Shapers, the only pair of pants that you'll ever need, which, okay, whatever. Okay, fine. But Slaxx, wow, this film is so much better. And like I said, it balances out everything very, very well. It is much better than it has any right to be. So, since this is a new film, I haven't seen this before, I will give this a very, very strong recommendation of a 7 out of 10, y'all. 7 out of 10. Like I said, with everything that they have going on with the setting, the characters, the overall themes and messages that they have here, it just works so much better than I thought it was going to. And I realize I only have a few more days before Halloween, so you got to get in, your horror viewing while you can. But I would strongly recommend this. I think it's very well done. What do you guys think? Have you seen Slaxx? Do you have Do you have your own thoughts like on it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. Thank you very much for joining me here on Movie Ninja, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.